What if I told you? This empty jar holds the secret to a happier life? Most people look at it and see absolutely nothing. But one simple lesson hidden inside this jar can change the way you live forever. Once there was a young woman named Emma. She had everything she once wished for, yet her heart felt completely empty. As Emma sat quietly, an old woman walked toward her, carrying nothing but a large, empty glass jar. Without saying a word, the old woman placed the jar in front of Emma and asked, "Tell me, what do you see?" Emma looked inside and replied, "Nothing. It's completely empty." The old woman smiled and said, "That's exactly where most people make their biggest mistake." The old woman picked up several large rocks from the table and smiled at Emma. Without saying a word, she carefully placed each rock into the empty jar until there was no space left. She looked at Emma and asked, "Do you think the jar is full now?" Emma nodded confidently. To her, the answer seemed obvious. The rocks had reached the top, and nothing else could possibly fit inside. She wondered why such a simple demonstration was supposed to change her life. The old woman didn't answer immediately. Instead, she gently smiled as though Emma had given the exact response she expected. "Most people stop here," she said softly. "They believe there's no more room because they only see what is right in front of them." Emma looked at the jar again, still unable to understand what the old woman meant. The old woman reached for a bowl of tiny pebbles and slowly poured them into the jar. Emma watched in disbelief as the pebbles slipped through the empty spaces between the large rocks. The jar gently shook, and more pebbles continued to settle inside until they could no longer move. Emma's eyes grew wide with surprise. She had been completely certain the jar was already full, yet somehow there had been a hidden space all along. For the first time that evening, she realized that things are not always what they seem. Sometimes, what looks full still has room for something important. The old woman looked into Emma's eyes and said, "Life works the same way. If you fill your days with the biggest things first, the smaller things will always find their place." Emma remained silent, feeling that this lesson was about much more than a simple glass jar. She knew the real meaning was only beginning to unfold. Emma was certain the lesson was over. The jar looked completely full. Emma smiled confidently. "Now it's completely full," she said. The old woman didn't answer. Instead, she quietly picked up a bowl filled with fine golden sand and walked toward the jar. The sand flowed smoothly into every tiny gap. It slipped between the rocks and pebbles with ease. Emma watched in complete disbelief. The level inside the jar continued to rise. Within moments, every empty space had disappeared. The jar looked fuller than ever. Emma couldn't understand how something she believed was already full could still hold so much more. The old woman looked at Emma and asked, "What have you learned so far?" Emma stayed silent. She knew the lesson wasn't really about the jar anymore. Just as Emma thought the lesson was finally over, the old woman reached for a glass pitcher filled with water. Emma's eyes widened once again. "There's still more?" she asked quietly. Emma smiled and said, "Now I'm sure it's completely full." The old woman quietly picked up a glass pitcher filled with clear water. Without saying a word, the water slowly disappeared into the jar. It flowed through every tiny space that no one could even see. Emma watched in complete disbelief as the jar accepted every single drop. Emma couldn't believe her eyes. She had thought the jar was full 3 different times, yet every time there was still room for something more. She realized that appearances can be very deceiving. The old woman gently smiled. "This jar is much more than a simple container," she said. "It's a reflection of how most people choose to live their lives." Emma leaned forward, eager to understand. She knew the real lesson was about to begin, and it would change the way she looked at every single day of her life. The old woman looked at Emma and smiled. "This jar represents your life," she said. "Every single thing inside. It has a meaning. The secret isn't how much you put in, it's what you choose to put in first." She pointed to the large rocks. "These are the most important parts of life. Your family, your health, your dreams, and your peace of mind. If you lose these, nothing else can truly replace them. These pebbles represent your job, money, education, and career, more valuable than the people, and dreams that give your life meaning. The sand represents the little things that consume your day. Notifications, endless scrolling, worries, and tiny problems. They seem harmless, but they quietly steal your time. Emma finally understood. She hadn't lost her happiness, because life was empty. She had filled her days with the wrong things first. For the first time in years, she knew exactly. The next morning, Emma made a promise to herself. She would stop letting small distractions control her life. Instead of reaching for her phone, she decided to focus on what truly mattered. She started taking care of her health. Every morning became a fresh beginning. With each step she took, she felt stronger, calmer, and more alive than she had in years. Emma made time for the people she loved. She realized that success means very little if you have no one to share it with. Those moments became the happiest part of her day. She began working on her biggest dreams before worrying about emails, notifications, or endless tasks. Slowly, her confidence returned, and her purpose became clear once again. Weeks later, Emma looked at the same jar and smiled. It had never been about fitting more into life, the right things first. Months passed, and Emma's life slowly began to change. She wasn't happier because she had more money or more success. She was happier because she finally knew what truly deserved her time and attention. The old woman smiled and said, "Life will always be busy. There will always be more work, more worries, and more distractions. But never forget what deserves to come first. Protect your biggest rocks, your family, your health, your dreams, and your peace of mind. These are the foundation of a meaningful life. Everything else comes after." From that day forward, Emma stopped chasing everything. Remember, if you don't put the big rocks in first, you'll never find room for them later. Every day, life hands you an empty jar. The choice is yours. What will you put in first? If this story touched your heart, subscribe for more life-changing stories that inspire a better life.